Welcome to Real Talk. This is your host, Kanata Carter, and today I'm here with a human rights activist, busy woman. Every time, wherever you look on Facebook, I see her. She's definitely about doing the work of being an activist. So I'm excited about this interview. So, to no further ado, welcome, and that's me, Ally Hughes.
So, how's it going?
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. We was talking backstage about the things that you're doing and everything. So we're going to get right into it. But first, I just want to let everybody know, I met her at what was that? The June 20th? Was
Yeah.
that the June 20th protest?
Uh, yeah, Ep2.
Um, yeah. And I believe, I forget the girl name. I meant to write it down. Ariana or something like that.
Yeah.
Ariana, okay. That put it together, and she did a tremendous job. I'm talking
She
about,
did.
yeah, A1 job. Feisty young lady too.
I love it though.
Um, oh
I
yeah.
do. I admire it.
All right. The first question that I have for you is, what made you become an activist? What put into your mind, hey, I want to make a change? What sparked that fire in you?
Honestly, I mean, since I was a kid, I've always been about wanting to give back and make a difference. Uh, I mean, you can ask my mom, like, she always tells the story about her asking me when I turned 18, what do you want to do with your life? And me saying, I want to change the world.
Right.
And she's like, but what do you want to do? Like, we got to like, we got to like have a plan for money. And I stay consistent on that.
Yeah.
Now, knowing exactly how to do it and where to look has been a journey. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like once the Sandra Bland thing happened, is
Mm-hmm.
when everything clicked for me in terms of how serious I need to be about this. Like, I need to get fully involved, I need to do everything I can. I feel like she could have been me. Like, I knew before that, I was involved before that, but it was like, I feel like my drive and passion intensified after she died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can understand that too, because I know for me it was the George Floyd. Even though, coming out of Detroit, I've seen a lot. You talk about Malice Green, you talk about, I mean, through the years, me
Mm-hmm.
growing up in Detroit, that was a common problem, right?
Yeah.
Um, but to see that happen so in your face, the way that it happened,
Yeah.
it made me just really just pray and say, Lord, whatever I'm doing that I don't supposed to do, take it away so I can do whatever you need me to do. And to be an activist, to try to create change, create peace. So that I definitely get what you're saying. And it
Mm-hmm.
gets to a point that it's like, oh my, I got to do something. I can't just sit.
Yeah. That's exactly perfect words.
Yeah. I guess the second question that I have is, um, tell us about more about you,
Me, okay.
where
Well,
you was raised and different things of that nature.
okay. Well, I've kind of feel like I've lived all over. Sometimes I say I'm from everywhere. It's
Okay.
because I'm moving so much.
Okay.
No, I went to Hamtramck schools during like childhood, and then eventually downriver schools,
Mm-hmm.
Wyandotte. Down there exposed me to a lot of different things in terms of being like the only Black person in the school, like uh, and that really gave me awareness to like what I can expect in certain scenarios. I feel like prepared me actually for things like this, uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
situations. As ugly as it was at the time, I didn't know that. um, but I'm not upset that I dealt with that because I'm
Okay.
able to deal with people now that I thought I'd never be able to deal with. Um, but yeah, and then eventually going moving to Pennsylvania for a bit. Um, you know, uh, went to Harrisburg Area Community College at first. Plans was to go into psychology. I ended up getting a bachelor's in psychology and plan to get my MSW in social work.
Okay.
And graduated from University of Michigan. All throughout that, though, I have been trying to stay in activism. So whether it was BSU, then it was Michigan Student Power Network. And then from there, it was Michigan Liberation. And now it's Michigan Liberation, Livonia Citizens, Caring for Black Lives, also Freedom Fighters. So it's kind of been a progression of less, I guess, I don't want to say extreme, but less, I guess similar, but more involved. So as my awareness grew.
Okay. And I think that's important. You know what I mean? I think anybody that becomes an activist, I don't think it's something that you take lightly, right? Because it's like once you put yourself into a fishbowl and say, I'm an activist, I'm a preacher, whatever your title presumably is, you put yourself in a fishbowl for everybody to watch, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody is watching this fishbowl and watching every move that you make, and they're waiting on a mistake so they can go, ooh, see, ooh, see, ooh, see.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that makes people go, well, I'm not even going to enter the race because I don't want to deal with that. But I think it does come to a point that we go, like even people like you and myself and other activists in the community that just go, you know what, it's enough is enough. Regardless, people can say what they want about me. People can form their own opinions about me or whatever. But in order to create change, I have to be out here. Right.
Yeah. You have to be fearless if you want to create change. You can't be afraid of what people think. You just gotta voice your opinion no matter what it is. Like, you just never know. It's scary, but it's a risk that we need to take. As a country, we need to take that risk because we may not be able to go on tomorrow. We don't know. Like, just because you see it on TV doesn't mean it can't happen here. In fact, I've learned about people, for example, Janet Wilson was killed in Dearborn at Fairlane Mall. And that was in 2016. Officer, he wasn't charged, and that was it. But I learned about that like a couple of weeks ago. And people don't think it can happen to them, but it can. So we have to use our voice as much as possible. We just don't know what tomorrow holds. That's how I kind of see it.
Okay. Yeah, it does take a lot of, when I was at the protest, when you had got up to speak, like I said, I was inspired. One of the things that stuck out to me, you said, we're not waiting on leaders. We are our own leaders in a way. We have to take charge of what's going on now. That stuck with me. And so this is the question that I have. Do you think leadership is needed? And either way, yes or no, explain your answer.
Do I think leadership is needed? Definitely. Yeah. I mean, leaders guide the way. Not everybody has the courage to be the leader. Sometimes you have to, like, we need leaders to guide the way for people that don't know where to go or are too scared to go. Because we speak up, then they're more prompt to do it. Like, they're more on board. Definitely need leaders, voices, and not just one leader. Leaders, female leaders, Black female leaders, Black male leaders. We need the youth to show their leadership. It's just as valuable.
Yeah. And just to tell you what made that stick out, because it was so true and so right on point at that time, right? Because once that was said, I noticed the crowd began to, how a person would say something, then a person would go, yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she right. You know, and so it was kind of everybody just kind of like jumped on board. You know what I mean? So I was like, that's why it stuck with me the way that it did. So I said, if I ever get a chance, I want to see how she really feels about it.
Where that came from. We are the leaders we've been waiting for, and that came from Grace Lee Boggs. She was an activist during the '60s, heavily involved with Martin Luther King and his movement. More low key though. But yeah, that definitely stuck with me ever since I learned that. I learned that in college, like early on, and it just like completely is everything like I strive to be.
Okay. What are some of the things you're doing as far as an activist? What are the things you're doing right now? Like, I know every time I go on like I said, I can go on any one of your groups and I see you every time I see you with that bullhorn, I said, man, she is not playing. But I like I said, I admire that about you. We need more, especially African American women out there, and just Black women just taking control. And I like that, man. I think it's a new day, it's a new era. I believe everybody has to step up to that new era, and that's churches, that's preachers, that's politicians. We all have to step up. And if we all step up and work together, man, we can change these things. You know what I mean? We can really change it. So so what are the things that you're doing right now?
Right now, let's see. I know there's the truth to sentencing petition, so that people are able to earn credits for early release, and also ending mandatory minimum sentencing. Those are petitions that me and my team, we carry to different protests and different events. Michigan is like one of 5 states that still has mandatory minimums. So we're wanting to get that on the ballot in August, so relatively soon. So we've been trying to ramp up on the signatures as much as possible. Other than that, also as well, with Livonia Citizens Caring for Black Lives, we've been heavily involved in the city council meetings and trying to get the biggest presence there, because the current city council president, she won't even acknowledge that racism exists in Livonia, and she praises the police there on Facebook all the time.
Wow.
But blames it on the mayor. She can't do anything. But yeah, so we've reached out to Survivors Speak. They've been involved in the council meetings. Also, Schoolcraft College, BSU, we have them on board as well. We're planning to do sit-in protests on the 5th and 7th, or 5th and 17th of August. So the 5th and 17th. They have a council meeting planned on the 17th, I believe, but on the 5th, there's like a different type of meeting. The issue is, though, on the hometown press website, they posted an article about it, and they said it was on the 5th, but on the council website, it says the 17th. So we confused on whether or not they're trying to divert people away from going. So we just planned a sit-in on both days. That's how you
do it. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So we have
that going. Also, too, I know me and my team, we want to get freedom fighters. We want to get some attention around qualified immunity and ending that in Michigan. My take is that if Colorado can do it, then we can as well. It's just the how. And I don't know, I mean, that could look like petitions. It could be email protests. We're thinking about doing email protests in terms of getting that word to Whitmore so that she can push that forward. Another thing also we're doing email protests for Kathleen McKinley to resign. So that's currently happening as well. Email and phone protests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Need to resign.
Emails. So it's getting there. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. That person needs to resign.
Yeah, it's getting bad. I feel like the billboard was successful because it drew reactions from them. Like it made them talk to the press and try to get in front of it and explain and things like that. And now I feel like we need to take a more aggressive approach. What that might look like, still up in the air, but I do think more ads are for sure to come, exposing data and things like that. Anything to get the council to start looking at it deeper.
Okay. And, and it, I will say this, after the protest, I had went and I saw you walking. I was that's why I had walked up on you with the flyer. I don't know if you remember with the Breed flyer.
Yeah.
And you are a hard woman to catch up to. I mean, you move so quick. I was like, man, my knees getting bad. I'm getting old.
It was a long day. That was a hot day.
Oh, it was hot. It was hot.
Yeah.
I swear I drank about six things of water. But
see, they say drink water, but I don't. What if you have to go to the bathroom? You gotta be strategic when you drink water during a protest.
I mean, you're supposed to be strategic, but I could be. I could be.
Healthy.
I was too thirsty. I was like, look, I'm getting old. I gotta drink some water. I'm gonna pass out. But it was good though. And when I went to the protest, I just wanted to go and support. That was it.
Yeah.
And when we had moved over towards the police precinct, when everybody was kind of sitting on the grass and listening to different people speak, and I just wanted to, stay there to the end, and I would have left. But when the chief came out, and it was a young guy and light-skinned brother, he was really upset. And I get tears came to my eyes because my first thought was, I don't want to witness anything happen. You know what I mean? Bad to this young guy.
Yeah.
And so, and this is where that activism come in, because I was way in the back. You know what I mean? And I prefer to stay way in the back. But this particular thing, it was almost like, just go up there. You know what I mean? And talk and kind of like try to calm the young man down, try to talk to the police chief was actually not bad. He was calm. He was, he wasn't, but you was there. You could tell he wasn't like going crazy or anything like that. He held his temper and different things. Yeah. So I know what it's like to just feel like you got to do something. Right. And it came, and for me, being out to the protests and different things of that nature, you try to find other ways, get to know politicians, get connected so you can make a change. Because we know we can't do it alone, right? You need your politicians, you need the people in the communities that's already there. We have nonprofits that's already here, Survivors Speak, and we got Nate Frazier, we got all these different people that's doing good in the community. So for me as an activist, I just want to help them push their agenda while God pushes his agenda through me. And that's pretty much how, I feel about it and different things of that nature. So tell me, Ms. Hughes, how can we help you? What can be done to help you in your efforts in the things that you're doing now and the things that you're going to do in the future?
What can be done? I would say first, need people to tweet and also post publicly on Facebook, Instagram, hashtag Livonia PD, not for me, and also hashtag in qualified immunity now. Those are two easy things you can do. Also, I would say the email protests, definitely get involved in those. So it's Kathleen McClendley, must resign. It's a pretty simple way to search it online. It's on Facebook. So if people could go ahead and copy and paste that into their email, schedule those emails, or even call that number on that event page, that would be extremely helpful.
Okay. One of the questions that I had was basically, I wanted to see, because you seem like you very straightforward as far as this is what my vision is, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is my goal. Tell me about that vision and that goal.
Vision in terms of
What's
how I,
what's the ultimate thing as an activist that you want to see? What's the ultimate? Like after the protest, after the the sit-ins, and what is the main goal that you want to see happen?
I want to see the police defunded for sure.
Okay.
In all 50 states. To be quite
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
Um, that's my biggest thing. The police defunded, qualified immunity ending to even have a fighting chance. We need that to end. Definitely that, and also just for the playing field to be fair, equality and equity. Um, yeah, so like fairness in transportation, fairness in
Right.
healthcare, um, giving everybody a fighting chance is my
Correct.
ultimate goal. Um, but really, it's dealing with those most affected communities first. To me, when you look at like different oppressed groups and
Mm-hmm.
how it's dealt with, a broad brush is used on how we should solve the problems of those groups. Like one size fits all. Let's do this to fix the problem. But when we
Correct.
do that, we neglect the most vulnerable communities and most neglected communities. And in my opinion, that is Black women. We're fighting multiple wars, multiple battles, whether it's reproductive rights, whether it's 1 in 5 Black women have dealt with sexual assault. Um, you know, we're dealing with multiple things
Mm-hmm.
on top of being Black. So it's
Right.
like those
Exactly.
communities get neglected.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need people to make sure that this change is for all layers of Black people and most disenfranchised groups first. That needs to happen. It can't be people of color. We're going to help. We know what the
Exactly.
problem is. We know Black
Right.
people. That's who need to be helped. Like
Exactly.
I'm all for helping, in solidarity with all groups, but I also know the data. I also know it's government data and not just schools saying this. There's credible sources saying the same thing. So we
Mm-hmm.
need to help those groups first and even that way, everybody else will be helped. Whenever you help, we know who's going to benefit automatically. Like we
Right.
know it's been proven. So I just need people to make sure they're fighting this fight the right way.
And you talk about our Black women, the queens, and to me, it's one of those things, like you said, it's an upward fight. I can only imagine, for especially for a Black female, to have to deal with all the different pay scales, the different how they're treated and you have to deal with the fact that you're Black in a racist society, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you brought that up, I think a lot of times people don't think that, right? We just go, Black people, we need to deal with this, but we never think of the divide between
Mm-hmm.
even the Black male and the Black
Yeah.
female, right? Because the whole point of the system is to keep the Black female and the Black male apart.
Mm-hmm.
So to cause friction, to make sure that the neighborhoods can't reconstruct themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that that I wanted to do as far as educate. I believe is education is brings knowledge, and as you already know, knowledge is power. And when
Yes.
people have that knowledge, they can make the right decisions. They can hit the right politicians, the right people, at the right times, because they know what they're doing, they know where to go, and they know where not to go. So I think education is extremely important. Learning how to work, like I said earlier, with different people, local pastors, local
Yeah.
municipalities, and different things of that nature. It's going to take everybody to change this thing
It is.
around.
Yes. Like it's
So
wrong is wrong. Like if
exactly,
you're silent and you're just witnessing wrong things, you're complicit. That should not be okay with you.
exactly, exactly. I've never, growing up in Detroit, I've always been the kind of dude. I When I did have run-ins with the police, right? I was taught to be calm, don't reach, keep your hands on the steering wheel, and I thought it was normal. When I joined the military, went to the Navy, we went out. I was young, so we went out and had a ball.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I noticed when we got stopped when I was in the military, we had civilian clothes on, so they didn't know we was military. They pulled us over, and my white friend, I love him to death. He know who I am, Dexter. But he was driving. Cop pulled him over, and so I told him, I said, "Hey, put your hands on the steering wheel, or up." And he was like, "What?" He was like, "Man." And the cop came up, and he was just like talking to him and hands moving all over the place. And I think that's when I was like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, it's a way off playing field, because if that was me sitting in that seat and I got to move in trying to reach for the glove compartment, I stand a chance as a black man to get shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
and so over the years of seeing this injustice, over the years of seeing, even on my end, even seeing in certain areas, not all churches, but in certain areas, the church fell. So it made me as a preacher to say, where is the church failing? Right? It's somewhere, it's a gap in the fence. It's something not plugged.
Mm-hmm.
And until we plug that as a community, everything we do is going to leak until we plug it. So that's why when the Lord called me and said, "Hey, drop everything you're doing. Now it's time to do what I called you to do." And so that's what I'm trying to do, just plug the gap. And by community, just lifting people up, giving education on the activists, so everybody can link up if they want to. Everybody aware of Ally Hughes, everybody aware of John Q. You know what I mean? Different things of this nature, because that's how you build upon what's going on in our climate today. And on top of it, we got the coronavirus. So and to me, we're not asking as black people to be held above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to be treated civilly. We're not asking for anything that's not us. It's just civil rights. You know what I mean? We're just asking for you to treat us civil. Mm-hmm. Just be civil. And that's hard in this society. And I find that very disheartening,
Yeah, that's the hard, that people have a hard time understanding that. Like, how did it become, I've seen some people say Black Lives Better. Like, how did that even become a thing? Like, why are we making alternatives? Why are we making all lives matter? Like, why are we flipping stuff? Blue lives matter. Like, can we just stick to the narrative? Like, why is it so hard for you to understand? We just want to matter. Like, we ain't saying we're not saying we want to be just better over. Like, we need to say nothing about that.
Nope.
It's just like, it's sad that people are like that, but also it's like, it's reality. And I have to remember, like, I have to check myself through activism, as I call it. Remember, there's a lot of uneducated people that think what they're saying is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Also remember, there's agitators. Also remember, like, there's some things I just won't win. Like, as much as I want to convince people, there's just some people you can't convince. So I have to know when to, like, cut it off or when to move on.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be a struggle.
It is. I think you have to move so carefully, right? You know what I mean? Like I tell people all the time, you don't want to go inside of a community. That's like me coming here, although I've been here since 2013, but still, I'm not. This is not where I'm born and bred. I'm born and bred out of Detroit.
Right, yeah.
But since I'm here, I want to help here, but you don't step on the people that's already doing
No.
things here.
Yeah.
So basically, you just, I'm not going to just throw up something and put Breathe on it and say, okay, look what I did.
Mm.
I want it to be a community effort, right? My
Right.
agenda is to help the people that's already here. Once that's done, I move to the next community and we'll do it there. And
Yeah.
so that's what Breathe is about, building up a community, putting people into place. Even I use this as an example. A guy had asked me, well, how do you do that on your lives? And how do you do this on your, and I told him, I said, hey, I teach you. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing that I won't do to help another person's agenda to in the betterment of the Black Lives Movement.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's important. And like you said, I see a lot of people saying all lives matter. I get it, and all these different things. But this is why I think you got some people veering off because there's no focus, right? It's I get what they saying. So yeah, all Black lives matter. And it's crazy to me because I'd be like, of course all Black lives matter, but not all Black lives are being killed in the street by police. All Black, you know what I mean? It's all lives, I mean, is not being followed around in the store. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
since we the ones that's being antagonized and oppressed, right at this present time, it's
Mm-hmm.
Black Lives Matter. Now, if times change and all of a sudden white people get treated that way, we'll say white lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm 44 years old, and this is the first time I've ever seen the outcry. The
Yeah.
outcry from races. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's that was those first 2 weeks were rough. I will say that was a really emotional time for me because it's just like I'm like all these changes is cool, like
Mm-hmm.
they change and stuff, but it's just like a lot to take in, and then it's like, is this real? And I'm like, I never seen so many people that didn't look like me, like trying to help, reaching out. Like when the Livonia group started, we initially started when the George Floyd thing happened, and
Mm-hmm.
we took the races trying to plan a protest and doing that, and then it's just like all these people. I can help you. I got this. I got that. I want to donate. I can give you this money, give you that, and it's just like I'm like happy, but also like, where was this though? A long time ago.
Yeah.
Where was like I was like trying to be. I was trying to be positive. It was extremely hard because I'm just like, okay, you changed the what is it? You changing different food items like maple syrup and stuff. Like you changing that. Okay, you painting Black Lives Matter on the street, and you whatever else changing different names, and it's like, okay, but like, why you didn't do that like during the Central Park Five? Was that not
Exactly.
enough? What about for Janet Wilson? Was that not enough? What about for Michael Brown? What about for Rodney King? Was that not enough? It's just like I just get like try not to be pessimistic, but sometimes it's like I need y'all to wake up quicker.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
really do. Like we need to like I need people to get to it a little faster. I feel like now people are on board more and it's a lot moving. Like I've met so many people and people that I now work with that I never even knew. So change, I feel like change is definitely coming. Like I feel I don't know what it is coming, but it's something big coming. It's just too many things
And
happening in 2020, but not to be
oof.
telling you like it's I'm like I never thought I'd see like stuff painted on the street and like people willingly taking down racist monuments.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like a thing now and they okay with it. And
I
I'm just
think
like,
I
okay.
found a I think I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think the funniest thing I saw was when you see white people out there with us, and like when we were standing up there with the chief,
Mhm.
and I remember Caucasian white lady came up through us, and she go, "Can I get some white people to come up here and protect our brothers?" And a line of white people came up and got in front of us. And I'm there, and it caught me so off guard that I'm fighting back tears because I didn't know how to feel. You get what I'm saying? It's like
that's what I've been going through. Yeah, it's like it's a lot to take in. Like, are we here yet? Are we finally here? Like,
exactly.
Is this that it is? Like, am I here? Like, and it like I didn't think I would get here. That's the feeling. Like, it's just been that this whole time, and I mean, that's why I think we just own to something big. We got to keep the pulse on what's happening. We got to keep the momentum. We got to keep these hashtags out here. We got to make sure we keep the energy. Because like while you have it, you can do so many things that should have happened years ago.
Yeah.
Like you would have thought these happened like decades at a time, like different things happen. It's just changes happening overnight. And we need to take advantage of that time or this time and just make sure we make it happen.
Yeah, I was listening. I was watching this one. I throw it up on the screen. And, like this Facebook, he said, did it actually take a pandemic for people to actually pay attention to the injustices that occur? Seems so. That's actually true. Me and my wife talk about that all the time. Like, what if this pandemic never hit, right? And I think people would have been mad for sure, because I think what made this one different from any other one, because it was a cut and clear murder. I mean, right there, right in your face, even though we done seen this time and time and time and time again, but because people didn't have anything to do but watch this over and over, all of a sudden it sparked. And when it sparked, I went, and I'm not gonna lie, my first thought was, yeah, they'd be mad for a couple of weeks, and then it'll go away, and then in another month we back out on the street doing it again. What I didn't anticipate is the United States, the UK, you had countries.
Yeah.
I mean, that is ridiculous. It's like, what, 19 countries? That's plus the United States. That is crazy. When the world is looking at America saying, what is y'all doing? That's a sad state.
When people at work that's not even from here are saying
exactly.
That's what I was
that's amazing to me. It's so I'm excited about the times. I'm definitely excited about the times. Like I said, and like you were saying earlier, I think I get emotional because it's like at 1 minute I'm like, oh, this is about to break through, and then the next minute you get this thing of, man, I hope it ain't like it always is, right?
Yeah.
Once it get to the court, everything dies down. They kill it, and the news goes on to the next best story. But like you said, if we keep pushing the issue, we keep protesting, we keep getting on the congressmen, the legislators, and if we keep doing it, they don't have a choice but to react to it.
100%.
But to react to it.
100%. I think, and as things get more intense, we need to get more aggressive. I'm not saying violence, nothing like that, but I'm saying that we need to get more, I guess, just be more in their face about things, less afraid, and just more upfront about what we want. Different forms of protests, email protests, talking to the news, just different things. We need to be more active as times keep going, because you see what the kidnappings of federal troops and things like that. Like things are progressing, so we need to up what we're doing. We need to get more intense with it. So as things go, we need to make sure we're doing that for sure. Now, also think too. Oh, yeah.
Oh no. Go ahead.
No, like I also think too, like our mental health is definitely important as well. Me personally, like I have a hard time remembering to focus on my mental health, just because it's like I got to take advantage of this time. I got to keep going. Like I can't sit down. I got to like keep it moving. But it's also taxing. Like if you're an activist and you're hearing a lot of different things, it can hurt. Like it hurts your heart. me, I know it's like, it's so many times my brothers have been pulled over by Livonia police. Being a record is like a normal thing. Like it's just become normal for them. And it's just like when your brother was followed home twice by Livonia police, because he works in Livonia, followed home to his Redford home, and also had a gun pulled on him.
Ooh.
It's just like got pulled over, and something like his what is that, obstruction of vision, whatever they call that, when you have something like on the mirror or whatever. But he was approaching the car, and he had his gun out and was yelling. It's like, why? So it's like when those things happen, and then someone tells you at an event, the Livonia listening tour, for example, when they tell you, oh, I used to laugh with my friends about Black people being pulled over in Livonia, and I just thought it was funny, but now I've learned. And you have to deal with that. And like, for me, it's been hard because I'm holding that anger. So I'm like, why would you laugh? People are dying. And you've now come to the conclusion that was wrong because of this whole George Floyd thing. Right. And now you're here. So I'm supposed to be okay that now you figured it out. It's just like, but at the same time, you have to know that that's them learning. Yeah. That's how they learn.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you go from there? Like, it's just mentally, it's tough. It's a tough place to be in because they're trying to change, and then it's like, you didn't care. Well, like, how could you feel that way? It's a really tough place. That's why, like, mental health is like, whatever you got to do, just check in with yourself some kind of way. If it's 10 minutes of whatever you're passionate about, for me, it's art. I paint as well, and doing that, reading, and I got to make sure I take that time.
Yeah, and I encourage everybody to do that. Yeah, because you would go nuts if you don't. You would really go nuts because I have to take a break from CNN. I keep up on CNN. I keep up on even Fox. I keep up on Facebook. That's why I'm able to follow different people and watch what's going on. And a lot of times I just have to take a break because I think if it don't hurt your heart, you won't make a good activist. You have to love the people that you're advocating for. You have to genuinely love them, because sometimes the people you fight for do things that you be looking like, what? And like, why would you do that? But but at the same time, your love for them make you, all right, look, don't do that no more. Exactly. It's tough with some people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's like you want to support your people at the same time, but some of them do things that like are against the cause. Then you battle with that. Then you battle with people that aren't Black finally figuring it out and realizing what they did was wrong. But also knowing that you've gone through things, you got family members that's still going through things, and you're thinking about that, like, and you don't want to talk to them at that point. At that point, you want to go to another form of communication. So you have to remember, like, okay, you have to check yourself. Like I said, check yourself. If that's, meditating, whatever you're passionate about, that could be the form of checking yourself. But you just got to find that balance, man.
I agree.
It definitely can hurt your heart and continue to.
Yeah, because I had to separate myself, because you find yourself like, it was so many things I was trying to do, so it was like, okay, until the Lord actually had to just focus on this, right? Just stick to this, stick on this road, and I deal with everything else. But the way my mind worked, it's I'd be like, oh, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And I've always been the kind of person, I just love people, and I hate for anybody to get mistreated, but especially my people, because it's just it's a Moses effect. If you out somewhere and I see somebody calling you names or calling you the N-word, that's going to upset me because I may not know you, but you still come from me, right?
Yeah.
So it's, and this is what I spoke about, being that kind of activist. I don't think people understand the love activists actually do have for
Yeah.
not just for the community and what they go through. They go through a lot,
Yeah.
as far as trying to push the agenda, while they're also a target by many people. So it's one of those things. You have to love it.
You
You
do.
have to.
You do. I know, because
Yeah.
I've had so many people tell me, I don't know how you do it. I could never. Like, I don't know. I like it's you have to have a passion, and you have to see the vision beyond what's happening now. I always say, like, I always felt like Martin Luther King was living in the present, of course, but his mind was in the future. And people were resistant to him because he was so far ahead mentally. He was so far ahead, and he has so much belief that it will happen. We're going to get there. I know that. And people just was not seeing that. And I feel like myself, I've always felt like I was in that place, because I've always been the one giving people benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, she does not know, like, let's not just judge them, think of where they come from. And I'm trying to be fair. And I just do that with everyone. Because I just know, I've known people that were white, that were good people, on the other end of the spectrum, the same thing, good or bad. Like, I've known all of it. And I know that I'm not the one that's in charge of just judging people. Like, I didn't create everybody. A woman did birth a lot of people.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
not going to take the rap for just on this earth. So it's like, at the end of the day, you have to remember we're in America, and it's like racist thinking that has been put on us. So some people have that racist thinking that they're still trying to figure out. And it's just finding that balance to make sure you can let them know, and also let them know respectfully how we can move forward. And I'll say too, it doesn't always look like protests and things like that making a difference. It's a conversation sometimes. Like, I've had conversations with people just about, like, their parents, just like being against Black Lives Matter, and how it hurt them, and how are they going to deal with it, and just wanting perspective. Sometimes they just need a conversation with somebody on the other end. Sometimes it's a phone call. Sometimes it is protesting or Zoom calls. You just have to be open to these different things, and you have to love it. I will say that.
Yes, you do. I'm gonna throw this up, and you can answer these questions. Somebody put this in. You can read them? Can you see it?
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who is not naturally social or outgoing? How can they aid in the movement? What does that type of support look like?
Well,
that's a deep question.
It is a deep question, but I will say, in my group, Freedom Fighters, there are people that aren't as social. I was actually saying, even in the Livonia group, there's people that aren't super social or want to be on the mic all the time. One, you can look at what you're good at. Look at your passions and think of how you can apply that to the movement. Say you're a graphic designer. You like doing that. You're not really a super talkative person, but you're super passionate about graphic design. And you could be making their flyers. You could be helping, with advertisements, social media videos, editing. There's that. I will also say, if you're not super social, you could also just start to educate yourself. And that could be different events online to learn how to be more vocal, or how to be an activist, or be educated on certain issues and apply that. It could be just asking someone in the movement, how can I help you? What should I bring? just being that support, carrying things like, yeah, there's multiple ways I would say you could definitely get involved.
Okay. And before we head out, I just wanted to let you know that this is why I had you on Community Spotlight. The whole purpose of this show, like I said, is to bring people on that's actually creating and changing a community that they want to see. I admire you for doing that. I doubly admire you as a Black woman standing up for everybody, standing up for us, Black men as well. Totally admire you for that. I think you're doing a great job. Before we head out, anything you want to say, anything that a call to action, you may want some people to come out and sit out with you, whatever you want to say at this point before we log off, you are more than free to say it.
I would say definitely search Freedom Fighters on Facebook, become a member of our group so that you can be involved in different protests and get involved. I would say push those hashtags, hashtag Livonia PD not for me, hashtag unqualified immunity. Also hashtag Janet Wilson. She was murdered in Dearborn, Michigan. She is a mentally ill woman. And
I heard about that.
And our current prosecutor didn't prosecute the officers involved. I would say get out and vote for sure. It definitely could be you. And just lastly, pay attention. Keep an eye on protests in terms of areas like Saline. We're looking to do protests there. Taylor, and then also I would say the Livonia protests on the 5th and also the 17th.
And all these things would be posted in the Freedom Fighters group?
No, they'll be public. Yeah.
Okay. So those are public protests.
Yeah. So join the Freedom Fighters group, and then those protests on the 5th and 17th are already posted.
Okay.
Those are already posted. So it's just sit-in protests. We're also we're collaborating with Survivors Speak and Schoolcraft BSU. So look on their page. You'll see it right there.
All right. It was a pleasure having you on. If you need any assistance with anything, please don't feel free, as you already know, to hit me up.
For sure.
And I help you as much as I possibly can.
Thank you.
And it was a pleasure. It's a pleasure meeting you. Keep fighting the fight.
Yes.
And keep doing what you're doing. Good job, Miss Hughes. And I will most definitely talk to you later after. You'll be going backstage, and then we'll talk after it airs. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
No problem. All right. That was Miss Ally Hughes. Somebody I definitely wanted to have on the show for a while, but I had some other things I had to do. But anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know, head over to her group, join her group. Matter of fact, I'm going to throw it up again so y'all can see it just in case. But I definitely want y'all to check it out. Livonia Citizens Caring for Black Lives. The Freedom Fighters most definitely join, and the Michigan Liberation. You can find these on Facebook. So most definitely go in and support Miss Ally Hughes. And that's it. And I will talk to y'all on the next episode. I'll most likely to be Nate Frazier. As far as the community spotlight, we will have some more shows in between, but the community spotlight will be on the 8th with Mr. Nate Frazier, another person that I wanted to spotlight. I think he's doing a wonderful job with the political races and different things of that nature. So I definitely want to lift and give him props for what he's doing. And that would be on August 8th. Thank you for joining in, man. Much love. Coexist. And let's do it.